Over the last 10 years or so, there has been a rediscovery of a bullet that has been nearly forgotten by history, the Pritchett. Remembered by a faithful remnant in the UK and Canada, it's been almost totally eclipsed in the United States by the popular Minié-style Burton bullet of American Civil War fame. That is, until now. In this video, we'll answer 3 questions. What is the Pritchett bullet? What was its history and development? And why is the Pritchett bullet exploding in popularity among historical black powder shooters today? The Pritchett is a type of expanding paper-patched bullet used in the military cartridge adopted by the British Army for the iconic pattern 1853 Enfield rifle-musket. Perhaps ironically, the Pritchett is distinguished by its notable lack of an almost universal feature of black powder rifle bullets. It has no grooves or cannelures. Grooves in a rifle-musket bullet have 2 functions: as a reservoir for the lubricant, which was historically a wax and tallow mixture, and they help stabilize the bullet in flight, a phenomenon discovered by Tamige in 1841. The famous Burton bullet, better known as the mini ball of the American Civil War, held the lubricant in these grooves. The Pritchett, on the other hand, carries the lubricant on the exterior of a paper patch. The bullet is rammed down the barrel while still enveloped in the paper, a process better demonstrated than described. Because the British formed their bullets by pressing them in dies under high pressure, a method popularly known today as swaging, the bullets were gyroscopically balanced and stabilized well without the need for Tamige's cannelures. Several significant modifications were made to the bullet for the pattern 53 rifle musket, but because they all externally look more or less identical, today they are universally known by one name: the Pritchett. A French officer named Claude Minié invented the first practical rifle musket bullet in the late 1840s. The Minié bullet used an iron cup in the hollow base of the bullet to achieve expansion. It caused an immediate revolution in military arms, and the British Army adopted the pattern 1851 Minié rifle using iron cup Minié bullets just in time for the Crimean War and to earn immortality in the hands of the 93rd Highlanders, standing as the famed Thin Red Line at Balaclava. The Iron Cup never worked well, and in 1852 an ordnance committee set out to select a better rifle and bullet to replace the pattern 1851. They decided on a small-bore caliber .577 rifle, the future pattern 53 Enfield, and asked 23-year-old London gunmaker Robert Taylor Pritchett to develop the bullet for it. Pritchett had been collaborating with William Metford on a beautifully simple bullet that required no iron cup or plug. Instead, the Pritchett-Metford bullet expanded by a mechanism known as upsetting. Thanks to some complicated Newtonian physics, a soft lead bullet acts almost like putty when subjected to the high pressures inside a rifle barrel. Before the inertia of the bullet is overcome, the bullet actually expands a couple thousandths of an inch, or just enough to fill the rifle grooves and seal the bore. It was simple, very accurate, and best of all, very cheap. The Small Arms Committee of the Board of Ordnance adopted the Pritchett bullet to go with the new pattern 1853 rifle musket. The bullet was so integral to the overall weapon system that, for a brief time, the P53 was sometimes called the Enfield Pritchett rifle. Pattern 53 rifles and Pritchett ammunition were rushed to the Crimean seat of war, and the new small-bore rifles began reaching British troops in the siege lines outside Sevastopol in early 1855. almost immediately there were problems. The Pritchett worked well as long as there was minimal space or windage between the bullet and the barrel. Unfortunately, mid-19th century production methods could not maintain such precision tolerances during wartime mass production. The required dimensions of bullets and barrels could not be maintained. This caused fouling and extremely difficult loading. In desperation, Colonel Hay from the School of Musketry at Hythe recommended abandoning Pritchett's simple bullet and reverting to the Minié style with an iron cup. These bullets saw service at the very end of the siege of Sebastopol. The iron cups still didn't work well, and they were replaced by wooden plugs after just a few months. Shaped like a wedge, the boxwood plugs did an excellent job expanding the bullet. Further combat experience in the Indian Rebellion of 1857 and 58 revealed that the .568 caliber bullet was still too large to permit easy loading and sustained rates of fire. In 1858, Captain Edward Boxer, the superintendent of the British ammunition factory at Woolwich, proposed reducing the bullet to .55 caliber. This was the final change to the Pattern 53 rifle bullet. Although it was significantly different from the original, it is still popularly known today as a Pritchett. Over the past few years, the Pritchett has been rediscovered, and many black powder shooters around the world are converting from the mini ball to the English cartridge. There are many reasons for the Pritchett's popularity. The paper patch carries more lube down the bore, which means a cleaner barrel, more accuracy, and more shots between cleanings. There is no leading with the paper patched bullet, even at over 1,200 feet per second. Pure, soft lead bullets like the Burton will start to leave lead in the barrel at velocities over 1,000 feet per second. The Pritchett's flatter trajectory makes it more accurate at longer distances. But by far, the best thing about the Pritchett, and the reason for its enormous surge in popularity, is its blissful ease of loading. After dozens or even hundreds of rounds, the bullets just slide down the barrel, often with just the weight of the ramrod. Stuck bullets are almost unheard of, and this almost never happens with a Pritchett. Perhaps the final word on the Burton bullet should go to James Burton himself, who joined the Confederates during the Civil War and, ironically, urged the adoption of the Pritchett cartridge instead of his own bullet. After his bullet was selected for the Pattern 53 rifle, Robert Taylor Pritchett's gun-making business saw a surge of success. By 1860, however, his ideas were trending obsolete, and he was facing competition from new gunmakers like Wilkinson, Henry, and Whitworth. In 1861, at the verge of bankruptcy, Pritchett found a new customer. Pritchett sold large quantities of rifles to the Confederate Army and included a Pritchett bullet mold with each order of 20. Millions of Pritchett bullets were used in the war, and today they're dug up on nearly every battlefield. But then, the Civil War ended, and Pritchett's gun-making business went bankrupt. He fell back on his other talent and found relative success as an illustrator and painter. He drew cartoons for Punch, illustrated Darwin's Voyage of the Beagle, and sailed around the world twice on private yachts. Some of his watercolors were exhibited at prestigious galleries where they caught the eye of no less a figure than Queen Victoria herself. For once, Her Majesty was amused, and Pritchett's watercolors soon covered the walls of her beloved Balmoral Castle. The Queen loved Pritchett's paintings and commissioned over 80 watercolors of royal functions. In 1901, Pritchett's last painting for the royal family was for Queen Victoria's funeral. Robert Taylor Pritchett died in 1907. The Times obituary described him as a man of strangely varied talent who had in some measure outlived his fame. His portrait by Daniel Werschmidt was exhibited at the Royal Academy in 1899. Today, this canvas hangs on my wall above a rack of rifle muskets. I think Pritchett would find it right at home.